Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have a scrapbook page for you today. We're going to be creating with the Good Life collection from Close to My Heart. If you just caught my catalog walkthrough, you know I'm pretty excited about this one. It's going to work well for so many photos I have. Today I'm scrapbooking three 3x4 photos. These are my boys. And these may just look like kind of random everyday moments, but there's a big story behind these photos and it's quite funny. So I'll be sharing that as we put this layout together. But yes, these are gonna go perfectly. The colors are great and the feel is great, and I'm super excited to document this memory. I'll show you these papers really quick just in case you didn't see my catalog walkthrough, but they're double-sided, so I already have every other one flipped over. So this is the two different sides of this one. I'm a huge fan of wood grain, and I just really like the farmy kind of, farmhouse feel of this paper. So that is one set, and then you have this wood grain. On the opposite side is this super cool paper. I really love that. So it's a wood grain, but kind of ledger paper, and then you've got these sketches on here. I just think it's really neat. And then this one has like that kind of corrugated tin look, and then we have a nice polka dot on the opposite side that is mocha with white. Very cool. Now I did get the workshop for this one. The workshop comes with some bonus papers. The coordinating sticker sheet, you can get the paper pack and sticker sheet by itself. You can get just the paper pack by itself, or you can get the workshop, which has a pre-designed layouts and bonus pattern papers and bonus die cuts. So this is one of the additional sheets you get with the workshop. And then you get two of these. And then this one is really cool. I love it, with all these little kind of farm icons on here. Really neat. With the workshop option, you also get these little paperboard die cuts. You get the guide that tells you how to put it together. And there is a featured technique in all the workshops. The featured technique is coloring die cuts with colored pencils, which they share that with you. And it's just all the measurements are there. It's super easy. Let's look at these layouts. Now, if you want to put them together exactly as shown, you can see there they've done some of the coloring up top, but these are the 3 double page layouts, and they are quite good. I do really like them. So you have everything you need. You would just have to get your adhesive and your photos. These are the die cut sheets. I've already kind of, a few of them, they pop right out, so they're super easy to use. And you get all these fun bits and pieces, tags, banners, journaling spots, all of these fun odds and ends to go along and create those workshops. And then of course all the cardstock you would need to create those layouts. Now this is a collaboration with my friend Laura. Her channel is called Ink and Whimsy, and we both are very excited about this paper pack, so we decided to collaborate together. And I asked her, well, what do you want to do? Anything special? And she thought that it would be fun to do like a pull-out feature. So I'm going to probably include my journaling in a pull-out. She's super good at these. I'm going to call her a professional at the tip-ins and the slides and all of that fun interactive stuff. Now, when it boils down to paper selection for these photos, all of them are really cool, so it's kind of difficult. But I know that I want to use this pattern paper for a different set of photos, so I want to hang on to that. Now, you get 2 of them because they're double-sided, so I've got, 2 of these sheets, so if I want to use the wood grain from another side, I can do that. And I know that I want to do some stamping on the background. So I have to consider, if I'm going to be stamping on the background, which, what's it going to stand out the best on? So I'm thinking of this stamp. It's called The Good Life Scrapbooking, and Homegrown Memories is going to be a really great title for these photos because we're at home. It was just kind of a simple everyday moment, and I thought Homegrown Memories was perfect. So keeping that in mind, really the only paper that's really going to stand out on if I'm stamping directly on the paper would be this one, which is a bonus sheet, or this one. So while putting my layout together, that's something I'll have to kind of be, mindful of. I think I want to use this one for the background. And then we're going to do like a frame style layout. Whenever I have a series of 3x4 photos like this, it really lends itself well to just have kind of them going across, and it tells the story. And again, it's a really funny story. So especially like this picture, and then like this one, Hayden's eyes are closed. I don't know if you can see that there, but that's okay because this pose was the best photo to tell the story. There's others with his eyes open, but still I wanted this particular pose because, you know, it's all about documenting the moment and telling the story, right? Not always who looks the best in what photo. So I'm going to have maybe this pattern paper. Let's see how the photos look on the, you know, if they stand out on this background. So this is kind of what I do when I'm considering. I have a layout design in mind, and then things like, oh, I want to use that stamp set, so just kind of keeping those things going while I'm developing the layout idea. Another little detail I want to point out while I'm considering what to cut this for the frame style layout, since we have this check pattern, I think it's going to look better if I have this one landing on the blue color rather than the white color. You may think that's kind of a crazy insignificant little detail, but those are some of the things that I notice, and I think that it is going to look better, you know, just like I said, landing on that blue strip. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and cut these down. I'll be right back. Alrighty, here are those pieces. I ended up making this one a 10 by 10. Here is my base layer, and you'll notice I gutted that out of the center there, and then this is going to line up perfectly just like I wanted, so that the blue, it lands on the blue stripe. This one I didn't cut yet because I think I'm going to tear the bottom of this, and I just want to see how much I need. So there, using the VersaMat, I'm at the 9 inches. Maybe I'll tear it at the 3 so we have a nice centered piece top and bottom. I wanted to show you when you cut this, I cut it a little bit more than 6 inches because I'm going to tear that, but be mindful of the opposite side, and you want to give yourself a usable piece. If I had cut that pattern paper the opposite way, I'd have chopped my windmill. So now I still have a nice piece that will lend itself well to another project. So there's a little tip for you. Let's go ahead and tear this. I want kind of a nice, I don't like crazy tears, and I'm tearing it towards me so I get that nice little white edge there. I will have my friend Laura's video, here's a sneak peek at her thumbnail, in the description box below. So be sure to check there when you're done watching mine. Okay, we can bring this in. And you guys know I'm not adhering anything down because I am going to ink up those edges. This one, I want this one in the middle here because that's kind of the progression of the photos. Now I know what some of you are thinking. You're probably thinking, well, why didn't you just do a strip of paper up here and a strip of paper down here, since I'm, you know, edge to edge here in the center? And you could do that, but I am going to have some interactive, you know, a pull tab for my journaling, and I don't want, you know, a hole back there, so I need something to create a pocket. So that is why I'm leaving that like that. Now I want to bring in some of the Mocha color, and I think this is really going to make these pictures pops. Let's see how this looks. Yes, I think that adds a big difference. So I print them with a white border, and then we're going to mat them on just a little bit of this cardstock here so they stand out against the background. Plus that'll allow me to bring in the color. I'm going to use Mocha ink to ink up the edges, and then we can stamp the title in Mocha. I think that'll be a really nice, it'll stand out nice and bold if I use Mocha. So I'll tell you the funny story while I ink up the edges of these papers. So they're just kind of random little snapshots, right? But as I mentioned earlier, they really tell a story. So Clayton, my youngest, he loves to dance, absolutely loves it, and he's quite good at it. He was in a situation where the school he was in had a cotillion for 7th and 8th graders, and they'd have a professional dance instructor come in and spend several weeks with these students, teaching them like the swing, East Coast, West Coast. They learn the cha-cha and the waltz and the two-step. So he knows how to dance and loves it. My other son, Hayden, does not know how to dance. So they had, and he's a little bit shy, so they had an event coming up where he wanted to, he knew it was important. Hayden knew it was important to his girlfriend Desiree to dance. Of course, what girl doesn't like to dance, right? We all want to be waltzed around the dance floor. And Clayton said, well, I'll teach you how to dance. No worries. And so they're in this photo, Hayden's looking at me like, seriously, Mom? He's awkward. He's embarrassed. But, Clayton's like, come on, we're going to do this. And he's being real apathetic. So Clayton's excited. He's teaching him how to dance. And Hayden's kind of like shuffling his feet like, oh, like kids do when they're embarrassed. And in this photo, Clayton backs up and he punches him right in the chest. So you can see he's clutching his chest. He's just coming down from the punch, but they're both laughing hysterically. You're probably thinking, oh my God, he punched him. You guys, these are boys and they are rough and they are tumble. And when he punched him, he's like, get into it. You're going to like it. And it was just hilarious. And they were both cracking up. And it worked. The swift punch to the chest worked because then they were laughing. It kind of broke the ice. And then Hayden started embracing the lesson and paying attention to what Clayton was trying to teach him. And they just laughed and laughed. And it was hilarious. They are two peas in a pod, right? They're very different boys, but they get along great. And it's just so funny to watch their dynamics because their personalities are so different. And it warms my heart. These boys, they wrestle, they punch each other, they throw each other in headlocks, and it's all in good fun, brotherly love. So it was just a funny little moment and one that I definitely want to remember. So that is the story behind these particular photos. We can go ahead and bring this piece back in, which I did also ink up, and I want to kind of rough up the edge here. So I'm just taking my fingernail and rolling that, making it look a little bit more distressed. I might tear it a little bit more, but I'll wait till I get my embellishments on there, and then I can kind of tear it more, with a plan. I don't want to tear it and then cover it with embellishments. So let's go ahead and get our photos back into place here. For the title, I mentioned I wanted to use the Homegrown Memories portion of the Good Life scrapbooking stamp, and I love that the die cuts come on their own magnetic sheet right in the envelope. For those of you that are new to Close to My Heart, that is a huge benefit, not to mention the quality is awesome. But I'm going to peel these off and lay them on my layout so that I can kind of get a feel for what that might look like before committing. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I want to put a little pull tab. So I'm going to place this larger tag here. And then these little elements were the bonus die cuts from the workshop kit. And I thought, I don't want just one tag. Let's make a little cluster up in this upper corner. And I love this little banner. Banners are so cute. So I think this is going to work. But maybe if we justify it to the left-hand side, we can nestle that right in there, scoot this over. And yeah, I think I am liking that. So for my tag, I want it to be a decorative element. I'll attach my journaling to pattern paper. So I'm just trying to figure out which pattern paper I want to use. And I think I like this one. Let me set these aside for now. And then I do want to add a little bit of Harbour ink. This is a featured color in this collection and I love it. So just to make my title, because I'm stamping right on the background layer, I want it to have some more layers to it. And even though they're both ink and they're both like flat, it's not a physical layer, it's a visual layer, I guess you would call it. But a little bit of ink blending, a little color shadow behind that title just adds a ton of interest. I started off behind my papers and then kind of blotted off my brush to get a lighter version up top. I have my Mocha ink. I am going to flip my VersaMat over. You want to use that foam side when you are stamping and it will give you a much better impression. So I'm stamping the word memories first. You can see I've practiced several times on a piece of scratch paper, and this is going to be really easy to kind of get in the right place because I've got that piece of pattern paper there giving me a straight edge. Give it a second to soak in, and then we can repeat the process with the homegrown right above the word memories. If I messed this up, I could have cut a piece of vanilla cardstock and put it up top there. It wouldn't have been the end of the world. So don't be afraid to stamp on your projects. It's so much fun. We have that dark pop of Mocha up in the upper corner with the banner. I need to bring that color down. So I have a strip here. I'm going to tear this so we can kind of keep going with that torn edge look on the bottom. And then this will draw that color down and just give it a little bit of visual weight, a little heaviness at the bottom of the layout, just kind of supporting all of our photos. I have created this layout before, a very similar layout. It was my dog Murphy, the firewood thief. That was a fun layout, but I highlighted the center photo with a piece of pattern paper, and I love how that turned out. So I wanted to repeat that on this layout. This is a little piece from that bonus pattern paper from the workshop. I'm just gonna add a little bit of Mocha ink to define the edge here, and then we can get this set behind that center photo there. I used the phrase 2 peas in a pod to describe my boys earlier, and I guess that's not really right, because to me 2 peas in a pod mean you're kind of identical, right? My boys are very different, but they complement each other. One's strengths offset the other's weaknesses and vice versa. I pulled a couple stickers from the coordinating sticker sheet. This top one says memories and this one says better together. So I love overlapping, kind of creating a little cluster up there. This sticker says thankful, grateful, blessed, and I'm definitely very blessed and very grateful for my boys getting along with each other. I know that's not always the case. Of course, they tried to kill each other a few times when they were younger. We laugh about it now. This layout is feeling a little bit heavy on top because I haven't added my embellishments to the bottom. This little half circle is from the bonus die cuts. I'm going to use that to kind of be the base layer for this little cluster down here. I went ahead and cut a Mocha circle just using one of my circle dies, and we'll layer it under there. You know what? I like that offset better. The Good Life scrapbooking stamp also has lots of fun images on there, and I wanted some height to kind of create an L-shaped cluster. So I thought this windmill would work really well. And yes, it's not, we don't have a windmill on our property. We don't have, windmills in the pictures. But it goes, and it's about creating a feel. To me, windmills, farm life, it all kind of goes together. So it's a feeling we're creating with these embellishments. I also stamped a little fence. I really appreciate that the coordinating dies cut out the inner section of the fence and even some of the inner portion on the framework of the windmill. I also have the little faux wood grain shapes, the paperboard shapes that come along with this collection. I went ahead and popped them all out of their carrier sheet. Now I can just kind of play with these around the layout. There's buttons and stars and arrows, this cute little fence. I kind of like that better. I like the color change better. So of course I want to repeat that elsewhere. So let's try some of these up top, the little stars. I don't quite like that. Maybe some of the buttons. Have fun moving your embellishments around the page. This is everybody's favorite part, so just kind of, try different things and see what makes you happy. I don't really like those up there. Let's try on the side of my photo. I like to do things in odd numbers, so let me put 3. Now for my journaling pocket, I'm measuring how much room I have back there. I want to use this tag shape from the Buildable Tags Thin Cut set. I'm going to line it up to the top and secure it with a piece of removable tape. And I'm going to do some partial die cutting. I want the tag longer than the actual die, so I will take the bottom and hang it off the edge of my die cutting plates. I've showed this before in a video. You can see there, it's not going to cut that edge, so I will have a longer tag. Run that through your die cutting machine, and then you can create these tags in any length. This is when I realized, wow, this tag's really long. When I was looking at my ruler measuring, it was on 6 inches, and because it was sideways, my brain just read it as 9 inches. Definitely not going to work. I cut this down and I added my journaling. I typed that up on vanilla cardstock and adhered it to the tag, added a little ribbon, and now we need to create a pocket for this. So it's going to sit right back here. I'm just playing around, seeing how tall I want the tag sticking out. I'll pick those up together, flip it over, and now I'm going to use foam tape to create this pocket here. You can also create pockets using flip flaps. I've done that quite a bit on my channel and I do love them, but I'm running low on flip flaps right now, and I don't dare not have those in my craft room. So we're going to use foam tape. It works great. We're basically just outlining. You don't want it so tight that your tag can't move in and out freely. So just give it a little bit of breathing room. Now, I know you've all seen this before. This is nothing new, but my friend Laura, she does all sorts of sneaky things to get, extra photos in and create pockets, and has a lot of great ideas. Here's a sneak peek of my friend's layout, and I think I can spot where she's got something interactive, but we're gonna have to watch the video to find out. I'm not really a fan of naked buttons on a layout. They need something. They need like some twine or some stitching, and I just wasn't really feeling motivated to get my sewing stuff out. So I have my brown Le Pen journaling pen, and I'm drawing stitching. Everybody does faux stitching marks with pens, so why not on a button? And you know what? I think it looks quite good. I'm feeling a little bit of metal on this layout, so let's bring in some old school brads. These are these bronzy coppery brads. I'm going to put a decorative row down here. I'm going to poke 3 holes in a line and then tuck some of these, and it's just to add some texture. I love using metal on my masculine layouts. And then we'll put 3. Again, like to have things in odd numbers. And then we'll just smash down the little back here. And anytime I introduce an element, I like to repeat it elsewhere on the layout. So up top in this embellishment cluster seems like the obvious choice. And I do make a final change to this layout, so stay tuned to the very end to see what that final addition was. After I filmed the video, I was looking at it and I thought it needed a little something more. So I'll show you that here in just a moment. Now I like to put a little washi tape over the back of my brads just so they slide in and out of the page protectors easily, and I can, just not have to worry about those. Now you will notice on the bottom I added a little bit more of that Harbour ink blending and some stamping to kind of balance out the design element on the top. This is the new design element stamp. You guys know I'm crazy about my texture stamps, and this one has a lot of different textures. I used this one and I didn't even put it on a block. I just wanted a little bit, so I tapped it in my ink and then just tapped it on the paper using my fingers, and I think that was the finishing touch it needed to balance this layout. If you enjoyed this video and found the tips to be helpful, I would love it if you'd hit that thumbs up button. It does help me out quite a bit here on YouTube. And if you like this layout, consider subscribing. I've got lots of ideas coming up this month featuring this paper pack and many more. Everything I used is in the description box below, along with a video link to Laura's video where you will see how she incorporated an interactive element on her layout. I'm glad I have this memory documented. It was a funny one. Can you imagine like trying to show your friend something and not paying attention and you just punch him? Boys, thanks so much for spending time with me today, and I will see you very soon on YouTube. Happy crafting!